My favorite thing about this NFL draft, it's not the fact that it took so long and we waited forever. It's nothing to do with my favorite team. It's nothing to do with Manziel or Clowney, Bridgewater, Michael Sam. None of those people. You know what I'm more excited about? The NFL prospects get to have walk-up music when they announce their names. Like, that is awesome. Jadeveon Clowney said he'll play some Migos, Handsome and Wealthy. Like, that's just crazy. Like, I want it to get to a point where it's at one time where if you get drafted, a person's going to have a live band just rolling up with them, like some Floyd Money Mayweather like stuff. Like, have Manziel go up there and Drake is right by him just rapping as he's going up, as his name getting called, and he's holding up a jersey. This is another episode of the BS Podcast Show, NFL Draft Edition. I'm your host, Brandon Fryer, a.k.a.
The Fry Guys.
NFL walk-up theme music when you announce the players. It's going to be awesome. I'm just waiting for that day. I'm telling you, entertainers right by the NFL draft prospect rapping on the side of him. And then Roger Goodell's going to give the entertainer a hug along with the NFL draft prospect. It's going to be awesome. But welcome to another edition of this BS Podcast Show, NFL Draft Edition. Strictly going to talk about the NFL and the NFL Draft. The NFL Draft is today. The first round is tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Look for it on ESPN Network and the NFL Network. Speaking of the NFL Network, we have great hosts for you. Mike Mayock of the NFL Network is going to give me some insight of the NFL Draft. At halftime, I'm going to have Bleacher Report lead NFL writer Mike Freeman. He's a great follow on Twitter. I follow him on Twitter. He's hilarious. I love this brother right here. I'm talking to him about halftime. We're going to talk about the future of the NFL and more. And I have an NFL Draft prospect going to be joining us, Zack Martin, first round draft pick prospect. Zack Martin, Notre Dame offensive lineman. I'm going to be talking to him along. I'm going to give you my mock draft as well, so I'm excited for that. And we also going to have Yo-ish play the game full of bull. We still going to keep the same format. It's just all about NFL. But before we do any of that, let's start off with this BS update strictly about the NFL. And there's been a report that the NFL is considering moving the 2015 draft even later, maybe pushing it back a week or two later. So that's interesting. There's another report going on. The NFL is considering even expanding the draft. Right now it's 3 days. They might consider it to 4 days. Let it take up the whole weekend. Also, 7 cities has applied to host the 2015 draft. Those cities are right now LA, Canton, Ohio, Philadelphia, New Orleans, Boston, Orlando, and Chicago. 10 draft prospects failed the drug tests at the combine that's been reported. 2 most notable names, Zach Mittenberg, quarterback of LSU, and Tim Jernigan, defensive tackle, Florida State. The NFLPA is reviewing this, though. Also, Jadeveon Clowney signs a deal with Puma. He got them snakeskin shoes right now. He's killing the game. Draft prospect Bradley Roby is charged with an OVI. There's a report that Bridgewater will collect $5 million if he finds out he falls in the draft due to injury. Colts owner Jim Irsay is going to attend the owners' meeting in May. Remember, he had a DUI arrest in March. Also, report that the Bills will find a new owner within the next 90 days. Speaking of the Buffalo Bills, their defensive tackle, Marcel Darius, was arrested on felony drug charges. The NFLPA filed a grievance against the New Orleans Saints for their tag on tight end Jimmy Graham, because he feels like he should have been tagged as a wide receiver. It's a big difference to that. It's $5 million more if you tagged as a wide receiver over a tight end. The Seahawks and Richard Sherman signed an extension which will make him the highest paid corner in the NFL. Police released the 911 tapes of the Colin Kaepernick case. The FBI is investigating NFL Hall of Famer Joe Montana. The Browns signed 2 quarterbacks, Vince Young and Tyler Thigpen, and the Pats signed defensive end Will Smith. Let's get into our first quarter. Texas owner Bob McNair said Jadeveon Clowney is obviously the best player in the draft, which to me, I feel like that's a translation for Atlanta. You need to trade up here, get this number 1 pick, take Jadeveon Clowney. But it's already been reported that the Texans are locked in at number 1. There's been a bunch of reports out of that. It's just, you see one report and then it contradicts the next report. I seen one report that said the Cowboys had Johnny Manziel number 1 on their draft board. Then later, the next report later said, nope, it's not Manziel, it's Blake Bortles. Like, it's so much just back and forth. You don't know what to do. So in order for this, I have Mike Mayock of the NFL Network to kind of clean up this mess here about this whole NFL draft. He's joining us via Skype. Mike, I'm going to start off with a question like this. Who is number 1? You already heard Bob McNair saying that Jadeveon Clowney is the obvious best player in the draft. But on your board, who do you have number 1 on your draft board?
I go back to the combine, and people thought I was crazy, and I said the best tape so far was Khalil Mack from University of Buffalo, and now we're a couple months later, and last night I had to finish up my top 100 list and polish it up and get it out to the NFL Network for today, and I didn't change. Khalil Mack is number 1 for me. I'm not sure that, I think you would love to trade the pick and go down a few slots. Khalil Mack fits him perfectly, but so does Clowney. And Clowney might have a little bit higher ceiling, but he also comes with kind of a buyer beware label also.
Okay, between Clowney and Manziel, who do you think will be the better prospect down the line in the NFL?
It's a hard question, the way I answer the Clowney thing is that when he woke up this morning, he was the most talented defensive lineman on the planet. And when I say planet, I mean the entire NFL universe and everywhere. Just because he's the most talented doesn't mean he's going to be the best. I think it's up to him. And there are questions about whether or not if you hand him $20 million, he's going to become a great football player. And like him, there are questions about Manziel, both on the field, can he become somewhat of a pocket passer, and off the field, is he the kind of guy you want to be the face of your franchise? So those kind of questions, I think you just have to kind of go in with your eyes wide open. I think they both come with buyer beware labels. I think you have to do your homework, and then if and when you pick one of those kids, you embrace them, you make them part of your team, and you move forward 100%.
Okay, here in the second quarter, you got the perspective from an NFL expert or analyst in Mike Mayock, who's all into the mock draft and the NFL draft. So now you have a different side. Let's get the prospect side. And I have another one here joining us via Skype. Zack Martin, offensive lineman, can play tackle and guard from the University of Notre Dame. Zack, first question, man. Offensive line, do you put yourself in that same tier with the Greg Robinsons, Jake Matthews, Tyler Lewan? Do you put yourself in that category, or do you feel like they better than you?
I don't. I look at I'm in that. I look at myself in that category. I know those are the guys that a lot of people talk about, but for myself, I look at myself in that category, and I think the difference between me is that I can play tackle and I can play other positions too. Where some guys are tagged to be just a tackle. I think teams are looking at me and my versatility and what I can do. Not only a tackle but other positions on the line. So
with that being said, is that your selling point to these NFL teams? Like, what do you tell these NFL teams when they're interviewing you or you're out there, team facilities? What do you say to them, and how do you sell yourself, Zack Martin, NFL prospect, Notre Dame offensive lineman? What do you say?
I tell every team the same thing. I've played tackle my entire career, and I think I can play it at a very high level. But that being said, if a team drafts, I've had teams tell me that, if we draft you, we're going to play as guard. And, I don't have a problem with that. I'll do whatever. But, initially I see myself as a tackle, and then kind of whatever team where they want to put me, I'll play.
Zach, man, you probably played at one of the most prestigious universities in the University of Notre Dame. So with that being said, what is it like playing there at Notre Dame, one of the most prestigious universities? Like, they're known for football. When you think of Notre Dame, you eat, sleep, dream of football. That's the first thing I think. When I think of Notre Dame, I think of football. So what is it like just playing for the University of Notre Dame?
It was pretty similar to what I thought. I was going to be in class was tough, and a lot of people, when I especially meet some guys on on these team visits and stuff, they all think it's just, you got to wear the uniform to class, and it's all strict like that. But, it's a pretty good time up here, and, they obviously take football very seriously. So we've been under the spotlight, and maybe it's something that I didn't realize was going to be that big, is that there's so many people that are crazy about Notre Dame football, so you're always under the spotlight. They take that very seriously, and you can, they pay big attention to that. So, and then the people who went to Notre Dame too, you're always going to find someone to help you out wherever they are, and the network's so big. Really, whatever city you're in the country, there's going to be people that are Notre Dame fans or Notre Dame grads.
We're going to keep it going with these interviews here on our Out of Bounds halftime segment. I have NFL lead writer for the Bleacher Report, Mike Freeman. If you're about the NFL and you love the NFL, you need to give this guy a follow on Twitter. That's Mike Freeman NFL. Follow him on Twitter. He's a great follow. He's hilarious. I find him funny. Me and him, we got in contact. He read my article on if I was commissioner of the NFL, and he read it, and he gives a great perspective on NFL and its future and all that. And I want to start off with this. Since we're going to talk about the NFL draft, let's get into that first. The NFL draft, obviously, they pushed it back. I'm getting like draft anxiety right now because they pushed it back too long. But if I was the commissioner, I don't think I would have pushed it back because it's just too long. It's just over-analyzing these NFL draft prospects. It makes these rookies come into camp a little later by 2 weeks. Do you think it was a mistake, or what is your take on this whole NFL draft?
Thanks for having me on. We'll say privately, people you talk to, that maybe it was a mistake because of exactly the reason you just said. There's just so much stuff, and I've heard complaints from everyone, from people on the teams, from agents, from the draft prospects themselves. Because what happens is there's always been this amount of a level of scrutiny, but I think what the NFL underestimated was just in the era of social media, where there's already just a massive amount of information. There's going to be far more criticism of these prospects because of that extra time, and now you're seeing just ridiculous stuff being said and put out because you just have more stuff to fill, more space to fill, more time to fill, more everything to fill because there's a longer period to wait until the draft. And the thing that's really puzzling to me about the NFL bid is in a lot of ways, these guys that are going to get drafted, they're part of the next generation. And while every draft pick undergoes scrutiny, the extra time has made it's crossed a line to where it's not just scrutiny, it's almost just like unfair. So you're allowing more time for your future generation to get picked apart by people, including people on the teams that are doing the drafting and saying things anonymously. So it's been, to me, a huge disaster. Now, what the NFL will say publicly is they like it, and they may even push it back further. Tell you that they're not crazy about it, and they shouldn't be. It was not a smart decision.
One person, Mike, who really got overanalyzed and just is falling, he's getting that Brady Quinn, Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, a list of names of players who have fallen, of quarterbacks, matter of fact, who have fallen in the draft, is Teddy Bridgewater. He's looked like he might be in that list of quarterbacks who was rated real high and going early in the first round to now maybe being not even in the first round. I mean, what is your take on Teddy Bridgewater? I feel like it's so unfair.
That's a great question. And I would say, I can't remember. I've been doing this. I think my first beat was like 1990 NFL beat. I've been doing this for almost 25 years. I've never seen anything happen to Bridgewater, anything like this. But guys that plummet have usually a criminal history or they failed drug tests. Like Randy Moss kind of did a couple different things and was seen by scouts as a guy that couldn't really get along in a team function, so he dropped. There's guys like that have multiple reasons why they dropped. What's happening with Bridgewater, I've never seen before, where a pro day, people say he'll drop out of the first round. I don't believe that, but that's kind of the word. I've never seen anything like that. He has that we know of, no kind of troubled background that we know of. He hasn't failed any drug tests. He's considered by everyone who knows him to be an upstanding guy. I mean, every team I've talked to has spoken to him. They love him personally. But he's dropped like this. I've never seen anything like this. And it's part of this thing where we talked about too much time, I think, too much analysis. And in the end, it'll probably still go high, and a lot of this talk will end up being garbage. But if he falls into the second round, whoever gets him is going to get a tremendous steal. He's going to be a really good NFL quarterback.
Hey, Mike, let's stay on the offensive side and talk about the running back. I feel like the running back position in the NFL draft and just the running back period position in the whole NFL has been devalued. Now it's becoming more a position where a person wants that slot receiver, that third receiver over the running back. Some people even say that now with the money that these free agency running backs been getting, it's almost equivalent to the punters of the NFL. It is so crazy. I think the NFL in the future is going to eventually become the arena league where you see no running at all. This is going to be a passing game left and right. I mean, what is your take on the whole running back position? I just think it's straight devalued, Mike.
I think that's dead on, and you're going to continue to see that. The league, I don't think we're going to see the league go crazy. It's not going to become the arena league. It's not going to become too gimmicky, because they know that there's a fine line between gimmicky and really hardcore football. You know, hardcore football fans, even casual fans, know the difference between real football and some of the crazy stuff that you've seen in other leagues. But it is going to get to the point where, as you mentioned, a position like running back, it's going to completely and continue to be devalued. It's just the way the rules are being set up now, so heavy towards a pass offense. You're just going to continue to see the running back lose that value, because if you're a team, why would you invest heavily in backs right now? I mean, look at the league. Look at all the players that are really incredibly valuable. There's Adrian Peterson. There's a couple of guys. Frank Gore was really big for the Niners. Marshawn Lynch for the Seahawks. They're more outliers when you really look at top to bottom, top 10 teams, top 15 offenses. They're dominated by quarterbacks. They're dominated by wide receivers. That's only going to continue to open up and get worse for running backs. Running backs are going to be maybe the way fullbacks are now. They're just going to be not as important to the game. You're still going to need to run the football, but they're just not important. And you see that now. And I think these rules are going to continue to tighten up. There's going to be more emphasis on safety, and they're going to also, I think, the competition committee, as it goes on, they're going to loosen up even more.
I agree.
So all these dominant passing offenses are even going to get even more dominant. And there's going to be more passing, because I think there are going to be more rules that make it easier and tougher on defenses.
All right, I'm going to give you my BS mock draft for the first round, and I'm only going to be doing half of it. So I'm going to be doing pick 1, the Houston Texans, all the way to pick 16, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to put any trades in it. I'm going to try to do it straight standard. It might blow up because of all these trades, so just bear with me. First pick, I'm going with the Houston Texans, going to take Jadeveon Clowney because he's the best player to me in this draft. They can add that defense and maybe get a quarterback in the second round. Second pick, St. Louis Rams. I got them taking the next best available player, and that's Khalil Mack, linebacker, defensive end. He would be great to add to that defense and strengthen that defense. Third pick, Jacksonville Jaguars. I got them taking Johnny Football. They need a quarterback and a guy who can excite that franchise and put some butts in the seats, and Johnny Manziel can do that. Fourth pick, Cleveland Browns. I got them taking Blake Bortles. The reason why, because they need a quarterback. They've been linked to Blake Bortles. I don't think they're going to pick Johnny Manziel. I don't think they like Teddy Bridgewater. Blake Bortles fits perfectly in that AFC North side. Oakland, I got them taking the wide receiver, Sammy Watkins. They need some receivers. James Jones will be the number 1 receiver if they don't pick no receiver. That's not good enough. Atlanta, since they couldn't trade up, unless they trade up and get Jadeveon Clowney, they're going to go offensive tackle, and I think they're going to take Greg Robinson out of Auburn to shore up that offensive line and protect Matty Ice. Tampa Bay, I think they're going to take wide receiver Mike Evans. Vincent Jackson has no one else on his core for receivers, so Mike Evans will be perfect with Vincent Jackson. Aaron Donald, I got him going to number 8, Minnesota, because he's light compared to Geno Atkins. Mike Zimmer's the coach there. He used to coach Geno Atkins last year. I feel like that's a perfect fit for him. Buffalo Bills taking Jake Matthews, offensive tackle, to protect E.J. Manuel. Detroit, I think they're going to get a rush linebacker in Anthony Barr from UCLA. 11, Tennessee, I got Justin Gilbert, corner, so they can replace the corner that they lost to free agency. 12, I got the New York Giants, even though they need some offensive line help. Eric Airbond is there, and I think they need a tight end, some more weapons since they lost to King Nix. They just need somebody else there with Victor Cruz. I got the St. Louis Rams at number 13 taking Clinton Dix. They need a safety. They need help at secondary. Big time. That's their weakness really on that defense. So now when you got and Mac, your defense is looking really nice now. 14, my Bears. I got them taking Kyle Fuller. He's a cornerback. And he can play a little safety. So maybe you can utilize him. And you know the Bears love versatile players. So he's versatile. That's a good pick for them. 15, Pittsburgh Steelers. I got them taking Odell Beckham, wide receiver from LSU. They need some receivers. It's Antonio Brown and there's nobody else. They lost Emmanuel Sanders. They just need more weapons for Ben Roethlisberger. And then 16, the Dallas Cowboys. I got them taking Tim Jernigan. This might change, though, but I'm going to put it out there because he failed his test, so he might slide more. But since all those players are taken, I think they're going to go with Tim Jernigan because they need somebody along with Henry Melton. And unless Henry Melton don't make it, you got Tim Jernigan who could play 3 technique and he can play the nose a little bit. So that is my BS mock draft half for the first round. Tell me what y'all think. The rest you can find on my Tumblr page. That's the Fry Guy, bs.tumblr.com. I got all 7 rounds mock draft. It's going to be on the Tumblr page, so check it out. Next quarter. You know what time it is? It's time for Yo Ish. You send me your questions via Twitter at this BS show, and I answer them right here on this segment called Your Ish. And it got to be strictly NFL questions since we're doing this strictly as a special of an NFL draft. So Raw 2812 said, will Michael Sam get drafted and where? I think he will get drafted. I have him in my mock draft that I said I put out on my Tumblr page. That's the Fry Guy, bs.tumblr.com. I got him going in the 5th round to the Cincinnati Bengals. I feel like Marvin Lewis knows how to handle players with distractions or got some trouble history or whatever. Marvin Lewis is the perfect coach for that. So I feel like him with Mike Sam would be perfect. And he kind of can come in there as a rotation defensive player. Would be perfect for them. Shuri Kisa tweeted, who are your risers, fallers, sleepers, and overrated in this NFL draft? My faller is easy as Teddy Bridgewater. The reason why he's falling is just because the draft is so long and they overanalyze him just because he did bad on the pro day without gloves, or who cares? Like, put on the game tape. But he's falling for that reason. Lewis Nix is another guy I got falling. The reason why is because I think he's strictly a nose tackle. And I think defenses with the 4-3 defense really can't slot him in there. He's better at a 3-4 nose tackle and playing on that type of defense. My risers, Derek Carr. People are saying that the quarterback from Fresno State could be taken ahead of Teddy Bridgewater. So don't be surprised if that happened in this draft. And then my sleeper, watch out for DeAnthony Thomas. I have him going in the 6th round to the Bears, my Bears. But I got him. He could play. He's like a Percy Harvin, Tavis Austin. The boy can ball. You put the ball in his hand, long as you have a good game plan. I feel like him with Mark Trestman can work magic for that offense. And my overrated, I got, Stanley Jean Baptiste, cornerback from Nebraska, because I feel like, it's a copycat league, and I feel like the only reason he might even get drafted in the 1st round or early 2nd round because he's like, 6'5" or 6'3", something like that. So just because he fits the mold of the Seahawks, because they have tall cornerbacks and he's tall. But if you look at his game tape and stuff, he's very stiff in the hips. He doesn't really cover that well. He's just tall and can bat down balls. His speed is okay, but that's all that he has. It's just because he's tall. You don't hear nothing else about his coverage skills and nothing like that. So for me, he's overrated. And watch, he's going to get drafted. I feel like he's going to get taken a little bit high. I got him going, I think, in the 2nd or 3rd round, maybe the 4th. I'm not too sure, but knowing him, he might get drafted early 2nd round or possibly late in the 1st round. Next one, at Shy Sports Forever said, give me those Bears mock draft. All right, I'll do that. All right, 1st round, I already told you. I got Kyle Fuller. 2nd round, I think I got them taking Deion Buchanan, safety from Washington State. 3rd round, got them going defensive tackle, taking, I think it's Kareem Reed from Princeton. The guy could play 3 technique and a nose tackle. So he's versatile. That's what the Bears are all about. 4th round, I got them taking a wide receiver because they've been rumored taking a wide receiver. And I got them taking Alabama's wide receiver, Kevin Norwood. He could compete with Marquez Wilson for that 3rd receiver. And it's an open competition behind Jeffries and Marshall. 5th round, I got them going linebacker. And I got them Yain Smallwood. He's already got connections with some of the Bears coaching staff, and he's a prototypical middle linebacker, something that you need because DJ Williams, you don't know what his health's like, and he only got a 1-year deal. 6th round, they got 2 picks. One, I already said it, DeAnthony Thomas. I feel like he could be the backup running back for Matt Forte, or he could play a little receiver. You can have him all over. He's your offensive weapon. I think Mark Trestman would do wonders with him. And then let's stick on the versatile side. I do got them taking a quarterback in Jordan Lynch. I've been saying his name for the longest, but I feel like he's getting taken the second round. They had his pro day. He visited them twice. So quarterback, he could probably play some running back too. Probably have him all over. Mark Trestman would probably do wonders with him. But if you don't, you could trade that pick maybe and probably trade it to maybe Tampa Bay and maybe get you a backup quarterback in Matt Glennon. I like that because I don't think nobody's going to offer a second-round pick for Matt Glennon unless a coach really likes him. But that's just my opinion. My player of the game goes to Russell Wilson. And the reason why he has the number one selling jersey and he's the number one top merchandise NFL player in the NFL. This guy was a third round pick. People said he was too short to play. And this man beat out Matt Flynn for the starting job. And now look at him. He's a Super Bowl champion. Granted, he's getting a divorce, but he's still in his rookie contract. He's going to be due for a big payday. I mean, it just goes to show you, man, if you work hard and hone your craft and don't give up, you can make it. You know, just believe in yourself. So Russell Wilson is this week's BS player of the game. My Fuller Bull goes to these NFL analysts. Merrill Hodge, Charlie Castaway, I think Ron Jaworski. All of them, this shows how long this NFL draft is. And it just shows you the BS process of this whole NFL draft. And just shows that you don't like certain players. You know, Merrill Hodge said that Jadeveon Clowney is an atrocious football player. Like, come on. And then you got Charlie Castaway say he wouldn't take Manziel in the first round. And then Jaw said he wouldn't take Manziel in the first 3 rounds. Like, why? I feel like they're just doing this for attention and they're doing this so it could be articles and make you want to watch TV. Are you crazy? First off, Jadeveon Clowney, yes, he does have a motor issue. You know, can you motivate him? Yes, that's true. But the boy can play football. Like, there's positives and negatives about every football player. So don't break down these young kids like that just to benefit yourselves. I just don't agree with that. So Merrill Hodge, Charlie Castaway, Ron Jaworski, and all you other NFL analysts out there who's being too negative out there, you guys are full of bull. So do not feed me BS and call it sugar grits. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. If y'all can, I want y'all to go on our Tumblr page. That's thefryguyBS.tumblr.com. Go in there and check out. I did a 7-round NFL mock draft. It took forever. I had to keep updating it over and over and over again. But we finally got it out, and I'm finally putting it out. So hope y'all enjoy it. Check out my mock draft. See if I get any of the projection right. The mock draft is the hardest thing to project to me. Also, go in there and check out. We got Frank Caliendo, comedian, doing his outtakes for the John Gruden quarterback camps. Kind of hilarious. We got our picks this week as well. And we got our BS NFL draft power ranking big board. I got top 50 draft prospects, and I'm raking them. So number 1 all the way down to number 50. Check that out. I want to thank all my guests. And I had tons of guests today for this special. I want to thank NFL lead writer Mike Freeman for the Bleacher Report, Mike Mayock of the NFL Network, and draft prospect Zack Martin, offensive line from Notre Dame. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in to another edition of this BS podcast show, NFL Draft Special. I've been your host, Brandon Fryer, a.k.a. The Fry Guy. And remember, life is a game, so play hard all 4 quarters. I'm about to get up out of here. Enjoy the NFL draft. I hope y'all enjoy the NFL draft. 2 fingers in the air. Peace. See y'all next week.
Bye-bye. Tripping. I'm out of here anyway. Peace out.